I come over here and we do something, you always leave it on mute.
Always.
Always leave it on mute.
Okay, we are recording.
Okay, so I am Khalid.
And I am Trey. This is a little project we've been
trying to get off the ground for a while.
Yeah, trying. This is going to be... So essentially what this is called the Incognito Room. And it's a podcast where we just talk about things that people feel pretty uncomfortable talking about a lot of times.
I like to describe it as a platform where we can talk and ask questions that people maybe are too afraid to ask.
Yeah.
I'd like to give some background. I feel like I think it's important to point out that this came about because both me and you, separately, once thought, I'd like to talk to someone that is racist.
Yes.
To find out why they hate us.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it snowballed from, which is the goal. That would be.
That's when we've made it.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, we got this.
We got a racist.
We got our racist to come on and tell us why he hates us, or she. I think after talking about it, it kind of became more than that.
Yeah, it definitely the idea evolved into just, we want to know more. We want to listen to opinions and thoughts and stuff that we agree with and definitely don't agree with a lot of times. And I personally think that we live in a world where people don't listen to each other as much. Everyone wants to be heard, but no one wants to listen.
Yes.
And,
a lot of talkers.
Yeah. And this is my way of taking a step to changing that. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah. I think I would consider myself a listener, or I'll try to be.
Mm-hmm.
My attention span isn't always the best, but I try my hardest to try to listen to people, to try to listen to their stories, who they are, why.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a good, hopefully we can get to a point where it's a nice avenue of getting that information that I want. You know, because I have questions that I've always wanted to ask and then never really been able to.
Have the opportunity to get those answers.
Yeah. And I hope, maybe not even just, opinions or ways of life or points of views that are maybe, not common, but also people that are in uncommon positions. I know that you're on board, that we'd like to bring people in and talk to them and make them make their own case.
Yeah. And
give them the opportunity to remain anonymous, which is the incognito. I think it's really important. I think it's also really important to point out that we will be as transparent as we possibly can.
Yeah.
We will, tell you some of our thoughts before we talk to certain people or talk about certain topics. We want to make sure that whoever listens knows that we're just asking questions, not here to judge.
Mm-hmm. This is not a debate format.
No, it's not a debate.
This is us just trying to understand where people are coming from about anything really. Yeah. So with that being said, this is episode 1. We talk about a few different topics in this.
We were going to talk about conspiracies.
Yes, it started off that way, but
evolved.
In these episodes, they will do that.
When it's me and you, I feel like it'll probably be very varied episodes of things, because we tend to kind of. But I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we found 3 other topics we'd like to talk about while doing this today.
Mm-hmm. Today we touched on conspiracy theories and Doomsday, a little bit about religion and
mentality behind people that believe in conspiracies and cults,
and a lot of the stuff that we say in this. Some people may get upset about it, but just know that we're not here to.
If you do, and you're listening to this, send us a message.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to us, if you want to change our mind, we'd definitely be willing to listen.
Let's talk about it. We don't want to offend anyone. We just want to we're just expressing our opinion, and we'd like you to express yours in a very safe environment.
Yeah.
The Incognito room.
Yeah.
So
want to be able to make sure that anybody wants to come on.
Yeah.
Even if your views are pretty out there, we'll give you a chance.
Yeah. So with that being said, thank you for listening, and this is episode 1, Doomsday of Incognito Room.
Hey, this is Khalid. So, we actually recorded a few episodes in advance so we can figure out our setup and actually get the hang of producing a podcast. Honestly, the quality of these first few episodes is going to be pretty crappy. I mean, the beginning of this one, it's just gone. And I don't even know why. But, please stick around. I promise the good stuff is coming. I have thoughts on both Doomsday and Conspiracies in general that I think are interesting, but like balls in your court. That's the saying, right? Yeah. So
the balls in my... So I think that Doomsday, like the conspiracy behind Doomsday theories, are really interesting because I find them. I don't know. I probably will get flack for saying this, but I find them fucking stupid.
I mean, you're not wrong. A lot of them definitely are pretty stupid.
Like, and I feel like the organizations, or I'll say the communities that really dive into those ideas of the world's going to end, and they keep predicting it, and they get it wrong each time. I just don't see how people keep believing the bullshit.
Goalpost.
Yeah,
they keep moving the
goalpost. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I think about specifically is like, I think it's I can't remember which one. I think it's either the Mormon Church or the Jehovah's Witness. They keep predicting the end of the world, saying it's going to happen this time, and it doesn't happen. It's been like 5 times they've tried to do it, and they move the goalpost again. But then they say like, "Oh, last time it was like the beginning of the end." They just keep tacking on more to it.
I have no idea.
But one thing that I think something that everyone can relate to is the 2012 thing.
Yeah,
the Mayan calendar.
The Mayan calendar.
So I want to ask you, during that time, I guess before 2012, leading up to that, did you ever feel any truth into it, or like were you ever at one point afraid of the end?
I think
did it ever cross your mind
at the end of 2011 I was like, oh, it's 2012 in like a few weeks.
Yeah,
and that's as far as it went. In 2012 I had a lot of shit going on.
Yeah,
and I honestly just did not have the time to care. And it was more like, the world might end this year.
Yeah.
Fuck it, that'll be great. Less I have to worry about. And then it didn't happen. I've never really been the like believer into that kind of thing. Yeah. Because something similar that I wanted to bring up that you probably don't remember is the Y2K.
Yeah.
I was 9, about to be 10 when it was going on, and I remember as a kid all of the panic in the news, and even then I was like, whatever. It's
fuck. Oh well. So what was Y2K? Like I think I was a few years like shy of understanding what was going on then.
If I remember correctly, it was
Wasn't something with the binary system or something like that?
Yes, the Windows, I think, is what, or the software that most people ran at the time, like airplanes and shit, were, I don't remember what it was, but they wrote it in a sense that they weren't sure if when it came to 1999 and then switching back to 2000, they weren't sure if it was going to work. Like, they didn't prepare that far, because, I mean, computing was kind of new at the time. Yeah. And I mean, I don't remember the details, but I remember it was like, oh, what if computers stop working and planes fall out of the sky and banks
So people thought the world was going to end because computers would cease to work?
I mean, if computers cease to work now, the world would probably come to an end. At least it would like,
as we know it,
spiral into chaos.
Yeah, it would be. I think we would regress.
I don't think it was a end of the world, but more like prepare for the apocalypse, or like dystopia
for trying time for fucking Mad Max.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Prepare for Mad Max, and it didn't happen. They just found that it just fucking switched from 1999 to 2000. It just kept on going, and they were like, "Well, move on to the next thing."
I can just imagine that control room. Everyone's just like waiting for it.
Everybody's just like, just in case.
Click. Fuck, are we worried?
I guess, I mean, I could see the worry. I feel like somebody in like banking or something like that probably did worry.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because they just weren't sure what was going to happen. Not that, society was going to fall into disarray.
Yeah. It was just the uncertainty of what's
going to happen.
Yeah. That's weird. It's weird that they didn't prepare for a transition like that, like the number 2.
There is, I used to know these things, but I can't remember. But you know how like in databases and in programming there are different forms of like, there are some fields that you can put certain types of numbers in. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I don't remember the details, but it was something having to do with that. I don't have that info at the moment, but I remember hearing about it and reading about it when I was older. So, but that was it. But that's the one I remember the most. Like when it comes to like Doomsday-ish, it was Y2K. It was the whole, banks are gonna crash. Nobody's gonna have money. Airplanes are not gonna be able to.
They thought the Book of Eli was gonna come to fruition. I guess that's weird. Yeah, I was a little bit too young. I remember it. I was just a little too young for it, I think. But the one that I remember experiencing was definitely 2012, the whole Mayan calendar thing. And it was weird because at least the Y2K thing had a reason, like a valid reason, because
a possible reason.
The whole Mayan calendar thing was it just ended.
Yeah.
Like,
that's kind of why I was just not really concerned about it. It's like, so you're saying these native people that just discovered how to keep track of time somehow figured out that the world was just gonna,
or like, they thought, my whole thing was maybe they just got lazy. Like, hey guys, why are we predicting 2,000 years ahead?
I think if I could be wrong. But if I remember hearing somewhere that the calendar just resets.
It just resets?
Calendar. I think so. Isn't it like based off of like a star or a comet?
I have no idea. I don't really. And it was also weird because I feel like years before 2012 happened, everyone was afraid of it, or there were a lot of people that were afraid of it. But once 2011 hit, the hype for 2012 just died out.
2011? There was that movie that came out in 2012. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that.
It came out in that year.
I watched that a few months ago, and it was really bad. I really liked it the first time I watched it.
It's terrible.
And then I rewatched it, and I was like, fuck.
It is. Yeah, really it is disgustingly terrible.
It's a fun popcorn movie, though.
I guess. It's just, I thought it was dumb.
Oh, it's hella dumb.
Even when I watched it, I went to go watch it in theaters. I think my brother wanted to go watch it.
That was your mistake right there.
Yeah.
You spent money watching it.
And it was just one of those.
I watched it when I had cable, and it came on Fox, like the Fox movie network thingy. And
a few years later, I take it.
Yeah. I would consider this a conspiracy. Do you know anything about the Bible, really?
Not really.
Not really?
Honestly, no. I'm not a religious man.
I'm not either, but I grew up in the church and stuff. Mm-hmm. And one thing that always blew my mind was the book of Revelation. It's the last book of the Bible. Mm-hmm. I think there's 66 books in the Bible, and it's the last one. This book is fucking insane. I don't know if you've ever heard.
I've heard.
You've heard of it?
I mean, I've heard some things. I've heard of the Horsemen, which I think sounds cool.
It's badass.
Personally. Yeah. And the monsters or angels or whatever that are supposed to show up. Mm-hmm. That's about it. I mean, other than like pop culture that is based off of Revelations. Yeah.
It's when you read it literally, it's a shit show. Like I don't think people really think of it as. I never hear people talk about it really, and I think it's because of how absurd and weird it is. Like, the whole thing is no one knows when the God of the Bible is gonna come back and take everything. And no one knows the day, the time, the hour. Only He knows. Not even the angels in heaven know. That's apparently the whole thing. And when He comes back, apparently, well, there's multiple versions of it. It's weird. Apparently, He'll take the believers with Him, like their souls with Him, and their bodies just kind of fall to the floor.
I've heard of that. The rapture.
The rapture, yeah. There are some iterations of the Bible or some denominations of Christianity that don't believe in the rapture. There's like other things. And then apparently there's supposed to be zombies. The dead's supposed to rise.
What?
Yeah, right?
I didn't know that.
No one knew that.
That's new.
He will raise the dead, and they will rule the earth, apparently, in some parts. Like
that sounds cool. That's like...
I feel like if someone made a movie out of this, it'd be fucking cool. Yeah. But, yeah, apparently, it didn't say zombies, but the dead will rise again. Blah, 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 blah. Some of the imagery in it is insane. Like one thing that I told my girlfriend about is apparently these locusts come and they have human faces and they're like crying and they're like in pain. They're like the souls of the ones in hell or something like that or something. I don't know. But they sting people and the people like swell essentially and the swords bust and stuff. It's crazy. Like it's a horror movie.
It sounds like. Did you ever play? Never mind. Keep going.
But yeah, I just some of those things.
Would you consider, from an outside point of view, would you consider Revelations
a conspiracy theory? Oh hell
like a
yeah!
Doomsday conspiracy.
Oh hell yeah! Like there's no doubt.
Because if you, and we are gonna get shit on, but like if you stop and think about it, like literally about the Bible, like I always go back to the whole burning bush thing.
Yeah,
it was like wildfire, and that fucking bush was one of those poppy flower bushes that grow like crazy in the Middle East. And fucking who was it that saw it?
Moses, yeah.
Yeah, Moses was like high off his fucking mind when he thought about it, which is, I think, is a big possibility.
It's a big
poppy flowers grow like crazy in the Middle East. That's how terrorist groups make their money. So
it's weird to think that people, I don't know, like this topic may switch over to religion in general, but like the idea that these little things like him being high and just seeing a bush and like, whoa, like tripping out.
Possible, dude.
Yeah, it's possible. And people think that when you say that, you're discounting their entire religion. And it's just, that's a possibility though.
It is definitely a possibility.
What's more possible or what's more likely? The fact that this ancient man, this nomadic man was high and saw a burning bush, or he saw God talking to him inside of a burning bush. Come on.
I mean, realistically,
more
than likely he was messed up on something.
Yeah.
Or, hallucinating. I do want to point out, I personally let people believe whatever they want.
No, I mean, most definitely.
and then like bringing it back to religion and bringing it back to Doomsday, because like there's a lot of religious cults that have a lot of Doomsday conspiracies. I guess to them it's like predictions. There's a whole, who were the ones that, it was like this guy and there was supposed to be this comet and they committed suicide.
Waco.
No, that was
no, not Waco.
No, it was somebody else.
I know what you're talking about. You gonna look it up?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
No, Waco was the guy thought he was Jesus. Or like
yeah, he was
Jesus.
like Messiah.
The Messiah, yeah. Was it it wasn't the Kool-Aid guys, right?
Heaven's Gate
Heaven's
religious
Gate
group.
That was it.
Mm-hmm. Heaven's Gate was an American UFO religious group based near San Diego, California. But look, a lot of these are psychopaths, like narcissistic, charismatic psychopaths.
I mean, a lot of cult leaders are, though.
Yeah. That's what I mean. If we're talking about conspiracy theories, like doomsday conspiracy theories, and religion, and how you could count some of their end of the world, what would you call? Scripture? Predictions? What would you call that?
Prophecy?
Prophecy. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for.
That's what they would call it.
I guess. Then what makes, like, wouldn't these religious cult leaders, that's technically, do you know what I mean? Like, where's the line between, oh, that's a religious belief and you're fucking insane? I don't have the answer to that, and I don't know if you do.
I think I might have one.
Mm-hmm.
I may have it. Yeah, I may have an answer, and that may be just what's popular. Like, if you have something like this tribe over here believes the moon is their god, or Greek mythology. Let's use that as an example.
Oh yeah.
No one believes in Thor. I mean, there's probably someone out there who believes in Thor.
Yeah,
but for the most part, no one believes in Thor. And it's very much written off. Like, no, that's all people. That's man-made stuff. Blah blah blah. But so I went around saying like, yeah, Jesus never existed, and I'm pretty sure the God of the Bible doesn't exist. People will look at me like, what the fuck? No, that's how could you say that? And I could be wrong on that. But also, people have to think you could be wrong about Thor too.
He might be real.
He could be real. You never know.
He might be up there somewhere, being like, damn it, why won't people listen to me?
Yeah. I'm over here throwing lightning bolts everywhere.
I will say, there is a group of I found last time I looked into it. It could have changed since then. It's been a while, but it was a group of people that were like decided to start following Nordic beliefs. You know, Thor. I can't remember his name, the Allfather. For some reason, my mind is just not there.
The what again?
The Allfather. That's his nickname. Who's Thor's dad?
Fuck.
Odin.
Odin. Yeah.
There's this group of people that are following, Nordic beliefs. Yeah. Odin, Thor, Loki, blah blah blah. And I've found that a lot of them most of them. I don't want to say most of them, but at least most of the ones that I saw were like white supremacists.
Really?
Yeah, I have no idea why.
Wow.
I'm sure not everybody was, but like the little group online that I found were like white supremacists believing in Nordic mythology for some reason. I have no idea.
Maybe because it's
the whole
like
Viking thing. A lot of from what I've seen, personal experience, a lot of like white supremacists tend to lean toward the whole Viking thing because it's cool.
Yeah,
makes them seem cool. Makes them seem like, yeah, I'm this tough warrior. Look at me,
like my forefathers before me. Like, yeah. I can see that. I guess I think also. There are those conspiracy theories.
They had a conspiracy theory.
Wait, what?
I was sorry. I was just thinking more of like end of the world, like religions and prophecy. The Nordic people have one too, Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
which is supposed to happen again at some point. So
I actually don't know anything about it. What's that about?
Ragnarok was supposed to be like the world restarting or something like that. I used to know because I got curious and I looked it up. But it was supposed to be like this prophecy that Thor was going to be... I think he was going to be killed by Fenrir, which was one of Loki's kids. And Odin was going to be bitten by the world snake. And he was going to kill the world snake, but he would die from the poison.
That's pretty... Cool stories.
Yes. It
cool
sounds
story,
awesome.
bro.
It sounds awesome, but who knows?
Another thing I think of is like people who have those doomsday conspiracies where it's not necessarily something supernatural, but it's more along the lines of the government is doing X, Y, and Z, and by them doing that, the world is gonna cease as we know it. Like the stock market will crash, or global warming, that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that global warming is a conspiracy, because I believe in global warming. It could be. I don't know.
Climate change.
Climate change, I would say that. But there's like climate change may make it to where bees don't exist, and after that, everyone's going to be fending for themselves when it comes to food, that kind of stuff. Like the extremes of those thought processes. Those are more... What do you think about those? Like the more grounded in reality ones?
The more grounded in reality? I've read articles and I
less supernatural, I guess. Yeah.
Like, let's put the whole, since it's during the pandemic, the coronavirus.
Yeah.
A lot of the crazier ones, like, this was created by someone to kill off old people. I've read that one somewhere. Because, I don't know, it's population control, right?
Yeah.
I really think a lot of people tend to gravitate towards conspiracy theories because in a weird kind of sense, it makes them feel comfortable. Because, not comfortable, but they would rather believe that...
Do you think it answers something to them?
For some people, I feel like it's too hard to grasp or it's too scary that these things just happen. That we live in this...
It's out of our control.
Yeah. They have a sense of control. That there is somebody out there somewhere pulling the strings. Makes them feel like there is some control to life.
Something can be done about this.
Yeah. But I understand that. Like, I can understand why someone... Because, if you really stop and think about the fact that the world is just this massive, chaotic ball of coincidences.
Yeah.
That's like some existential shit, If you sit and
like
think about it for too long, you're just like, I'm just a series of coincidences, one after another. So I can understand why people would rather... It would be a lot easier to accept, or at least it would help them feel like there's some control to their life when they feel like there is somebody pulling the strings. Because in that sense, maybe one day they could be pulling the strings. Maybe not at the same level, but at least to their life.
Yeah.
And again, I can understand that. I can definitely... understand that.
You can understand like the beginnings of those thought processes that lead to those extremes.
Yeah. Like I could see how.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I do think the people that fall way too far into it, it's more of this. I was actually wanting to talk to someone about this because I felt like all of these current conspiracies, like 5G and the coronavirus.
5G.
Yeah, apparently 5G is causing all these people to die.
Oh my!
Or that it's dangerous. Which I read. Where was it? I think 5G runs at a lower frequency than like your microwave or something like that. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. But there's that.
We're blaming cell phone coverage now.
Yeah, and it's like I forgot where I was going with this now that I'm laughing about it. Oh yeah, all of these, they're pretty outlandish nowadays, but they're kind of grounded in reality. And I was trying to think, like, it's almost like this what do you call it?
Like self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yeah, self-fulfilling, because somebody will run into it on the internet, let's say, which is right now mostly where people are getting these things. You know, and whoever wrote this will say, this is what's really going on. But when you talk to someone, they'll probably be in on it. So they'll probably call you crazy, or, you know, so they go and they tell someone because, you know, they feel they have this piece of information.
Self-validation.
They're in on it now. Yeah. And then they go tell someone that they love because they want them to be in on it too. Yeah. And then they tell them.
There's a word for that. It's like when you only accept the hits and ignore the misses. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And so, you know, whenever, you know, you tell your mom tells you you're fucking crazy, then you're like, so-and-so on the internet said you would say that, so it's true.
Yeah, so, that's confirmation bias, and then, for sure. Yeah.
And then with that comes a sense of community. I don't know if there is a flat earth, I fucking love flat earth, what's it called? Documentary on Netflix. And it is amazing. It's called Behind the Curve.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Have you seen it? You should
never
watch
seen it.
I think it's great in the sense that
is it very
the documentarists, the people behind the documentary have a very hands-off approach to it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. If it's what's the word I'm looking for? Impartial? Yeah,
they try to be impartial the best they can. Okay. But it's hard to, because
I can see that.
throughout the like span of this documentary, the flat earthers like prove themselves wrong multiple times. And then what I really like about this documentary is that they don't portray it as let's make fun of them. They portray it as like these people who are great researchers should probably be, you know, taught. And instead of ridicule them, let's aim their sense of wanting to find out into somewhere more useful. Yeah. And what I'm bringing this to is that a lot of them I feel like a lot of like the heads with more popular flat earther people don't really believe it anymore.
Oh, I wholeheartedly believe that. Yeah,
they're popular. They've been given a community that looks up to them and holds them to a higher standard,
high regard. And they have to.
Yeah, there's even a part where one of the big guys there, he's at a show, he's about to give a speech, and one of the documentary people asks him, "What if you found out that this was not
fake?"
True? Yeah, that is, and he said that he probably couldn't come out anymore. He's in too deep, that his life would just not be the same afterwards.
Yeah,
and it's like sucks. You can tell when he says that this guy knows that he is lying to himself.
Oh yeah,
but his life would just go back to being nobody.
His life would end as it.
Yeah, he'd be nobody again. Yeah. And that's why a lot of those people go into these things.
And it is a sense of community too. Yeah, like that's what comes with all these things, like the whole cult mentality, the whole conspiracy theories, like that one guy that. It's like, yeah, you're right, man. I understand you. It's that sense of, like, I do belong somewhere. Mm-hmm. That whole thing you're talking about reminds me of, do you know what the Clergy Project is?
No.
So it's actually a group, I'm pretty sure it's like a help group, like a kind of like AA for Christianity, or like religion
group
in general.
Therapy,
like group therapy kind of, but it's for people, like religious leaders, who no longer believe in what they're teaching.
Yeah.
So like those people who own like mega churches, maybe not even that, but like people who have churches, they don't believe anymore, and they have to live this life, like teaching people like, yeah, God's going to heal your cancer, blah, 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 or Vishnu is going to do this for you, and they don't believe it. And the Clergy Project is this thing they can go to as a means of like coping through that, and like trying to figure out how to get out of it. So it's sad as fuck.
I'd like to talk to someone in that position. I wonder if we could find someone, because that would be.
It's hard because it's very.
Well, I mean, we have the luxury of letting them be anonymous. So
that's true.
So I would really like to talk to someone, because I mean, especially if you grew up in it. If you grew up in this,
like if you're belief, indoctrinated,
and then all of a sudden you don't believe in it anymore. That's your life falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
I just want
friends, family, like just relationships in general, all your business relations, like all of that is just forever changed.
Forever changed. And I would like to find out what's going through their head. You know, what's going on.
That's gonna suck.
It does, I'm sure. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe talking about it would help someone.
Yeah. Or like them knowing that like it's not. I don't want to say that actually. I was going to not say that.
Okay.
I don't mean it in a bad way, but I felt like it could be taken terribly. So
yes. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
just keep your secret.
I don't know. Like it's really shit. It's a shitty situation all around.
Well, you said you grew up in the church.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever have that moment after you decided that you didn't believe in this, where you're like, "Oh, my life is a lie"?
No. Well, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird. So I grew up in Baptist church.
I'm sorry, I don't really know what the difference is.
Baptist church is more. I don't know. It's like, the super powerful preachers that are like, and God said this, like it's more like that kind of stuff. It was never. It felt like a sense of community more than like about the religion. I don't know. For me, that's how it felt. But I was really into it. I was like baptized and all this stuff, and I was like, I need to turn my life around because I'm a sinner. But I was in it, and same with my family. Like my mom, I think she was actually trained. Like studying to be a preacher and stuff, or learning how to preach and stuff. And I got out of it because of outside stimuli. Like I found out there were atheists, like people who didn't believe in God. Because I know that sounds weird. Like, of course there's people who don't believe in God, but there are some people don't know that.
Really?
And yeah, it's just something that, I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of a weird concept. Like with religions like Islam and Christianity, like a lot of the world is religious, and for someone to say that I don't believe in any gods, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, what do you believe in? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to believe in something. It was that kind of mentality when it came to atheist. But what got me out of it was just me not being able to figure out or get my questions answered. Like, okay. God created everything, right? And that's, people will say, yes, well, of course. I'm like, okay, then who created God? Oh, he doesn't need a creator. So I was kind of like, okay, as a kid, like, oh, that's okay, cool.
No
he's that strong. But then later I was kind of like, but wait, why? Why does he get a pass? So I Googled it, and then I started going down this rabbit hole, and I found out that's actually a fallacy called special pleading. And you basically make shit up to where you can't be wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
Essentially.
That kind of makes sense. I could see how someone who is like, because I have heard that a lot of answers to these things from outside people, or people that are in it, they're just like, well, that's just how it is, or it's God's will, and we don't know. God
works in mysterious ways. Is something I've always heard. Yeah.
So I don't know. I was never really religious. My parents were, are-ish, but I just never really cared. Never really bought into it.
Yeah.
So
it's weird because like a lot of people don't know I'm an atheist because I don't really throw it out there because it's kind of a weird thing not a weird thing. It's a tough thing to throw out because people assume so much with that term,
especially where we live.
Oh yeah, like I have friends that are very Christian. I'm kind of like, fuck.
Yeah, you don't want to tell them.
I don't want to tell them, but I want to be honest. If they bring it up, I'll just say, yeah, I'm an atheist. Yeah. Like when people listen to this, there are going to be people finding out for the first time that I'm an atheist. So
I just tell people I'm not a religious man, and that's it. They usually drop it.
What does that mean, though?
To me, it means I don't really have a choice. I mean, I don't have an opinion. I don't really believe in like omnipotent beings, but I'm also willing to accept that I don't know everything. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But I also believe that if, like, say in the Christian God, I have my reasons, like pretty serious reasons, and I'm not to like put like your reasons down, but like I more than just, oh well, this book doesn't explain everything. Like it's pretty serious reasons as to why I don't believe. But I also think that if I'm wrong and I end up being judged, I feel like if he truly is or she is a benevolent, all-knowing God, they would understand. And if they don't, then I don't want to be a part of his group.
Yeah, that's that's exactly how I feel about it. Yeah. But what gets me is the whole what you just said made total sense because it's exactly how I feel. The whole I don't want to be a part of it if they're all knowing and like, well, you didn't believe me. Sorry, hell will you go? It's just kind of like, well, where was all the evidence? Like, why didn't you let me know? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I just don't. I guess the way I approach it is more of this like very logical like sense, like A plus B equals C kind of thing. Because I feel like if you look at life that way, things make a little bit more sense. No, it won't get you every answer that you're looking for, but it'll get you a lot of the ones that you are looking for. Like, one thing that bothers me about the whole idea of religion is, I guess, Christianity, because I'm not a Buddhist or anything else. When people talk about accepting the teachings based on faith, I just find that just wrong, just flat out wrong. Because what position couldn't you take on faith?
What do you mean?
So, let's say
fully following.
Okay, so do you know the whole walk by faith, not by sight thing in Christianity? No.
No.
All it's saying is, regardless if there's evidence for it or anything, you need to believe in Jesus. You need to have faith that he exists.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, regardless if you've seen evidence or not, you have to have faith.
Things like, the devil put dinosaur bones to make us doubt.
Yeah,
like, that kind of stuff.
People have different ideas as to that, but like, regardless of the evidence, they're saying have faith. I can't do that because what I think is, what position could you not take on faith? You could say I have faith in that Buddha exists, and you can't discount that.
Okay.
Like, people use their faith as evidence as well, and it's like, well, this guy has faith that Vishnu exists. Are you going to discount? Is that real faith or not? And they're like, oh, well, his faith, no, it's not real.
His faith,
like, why is it different? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see why you would not. Because it is very. The one thing that I do appreciate of religion is that it gives people peace. And granted that if you don't believe in it, it's kind of like a false peace.
And that's my problem with it. Is I feel like we should. Yes, it does. Religion helps a lot of people. A lot of people. But I feel like that help is still harming. It's not helping them in a way that is real. Like, I don't think telling someone, like, you know what, God is real and you're going to have this wonderful life with him is really helping them. I think if you make them okay with the concept of dying, that's helping them. It's like it lets them and others know that this is just a natural process of things.
I guess, let me change it because, like, I understand.
Yeah.
Yes, it's almost like a false hope.
False hope. Yeah.
But I'm okay with giving people false hope to people that don't have a chance. I've experienced, have seen it. There are people that will never make it out of the hole that they're in.
Yeah.
They will be born into poverty, born into hell, and they will die in it.
Yep.
If religion helps them feel better, who am I to take that away? I would just make the shit that they're living in even worse.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm okay with whatever gets you through the day.
Yeah, I get you.
If that would helps, then by all means, go for it. As long as you don't try to push it on somebody else. That's my biggest thing. Don't push it on anybody else. If it helps you, let it help you, embrace it. But it's not for everybody.
For me, it's if it helps you, great. As long as it doesn't affect your choices when it comes to treating people certain ways.
Yeah.
Like, I have Christian friends, and all of them are great.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have religious friends, and all of them are great. But there are things in religion that can affect the way people treat others that are the out group, like the gay community. Like, if you want to vote for this one guy that's going to do away with all these gay rights things, then I don't want your religion. I don't want you having a religion to affect their life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where it gets kind of like gray for me, because I'm like, I know it really does affect people, even if they try their best to keep it to themselves,
Mm-hmm.
It affects your choices in life, whether you want it to or not.
Yes.
But
for some people, it becomes who they are.
Yeah, it becomes who they are.
And, they have to be who they are.
Mm-hmm. This is not off topic, but kind of goes back a few. I just brought up a picture of some of the quote unquote monsters from the Book of Revelations, and these things are looking crazy. Like,
I do like to do that. Like, I've seen a few. There's like supposed to be like some 7-headed lion, right?
Yeah, it's like a 7-headed, almost like a hydra, but it has lion heads, and each head has a like crowns on the horns.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird.
I mean, it makes for a hell of a story.
It does.
That looks cool.
But so something interesting about that is, so people think, so there's actually other monsters where they're like these giant turtles, I think, and they shoot like flames from their mouths, like flamethrowers.
And that's in the book of Really?
Yes. Like, it's, I wish I was making this up, but
I didn't know that. I've just heard of the popular ones, the multiple-headed animals and the horsemen, and
there's like giant locusts, but like giant locusts that apparently shoot like stingers out, whatever.
Yeah.
And people were thinking, because the Book of Revelation is actually a prophecy. I can't remember who had the dream, but it's supposedly like a prophecy or a dream or a vision that a guy was having. He saw the future and saw the world ending and all that stuff. People are thinking what he saw was just modern time war. Giant locusts, helicopters shooting flames, tanks shooting these, flamethrowers and stuff. That's the interpretation made by some people. And as a kid, or when I was in the church, that's what I thought. I was like, oh shit. Oh fuck, we have flying locusts, but they're called helicopters. That's what I really thought.
That would actually make some sense, actually. So I would. I don't know. Like, I just don't know enough about the conspiracy theory that is Revelations. I really don't. I never really read it. There you go.
These are These are horses with lion heads shooting laser beams.
And that's in.
Yes, I wish I was making this shit up, but yeah, I love telling stories from the Bible because a lot of people don't know about it.
I know that flaming wheel. I don't remember who it is that saw it.
Oh, that's an angel.
Yeah, the angel. And then angels, canonical angels are these weird beings. There's one that's nothing but heads or something like that.
Yeah,
that shit is awesome though.
It's just a ball of floating eyes that when you look at them, it's it gives me chills because it's God, that's both beautiful and horrifying.
Yeah,
this is what you're talking about.
If you ran into that thing and it was, oh, dude, okay, so that makes me understand. Did you ever watch Neon Genesis Evangelion?
Yeah,
yeah. There's an angel. That's that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Makes a lot of sense now.
But I'm just saying, if something like that came down and was I am here with a message from God, I'd be okay, I'm listening.
Alright, we're taking questions because I got a lot right now.
I have a lot of questions. Silence. Okay.
Okay.
Just
how are you talking?
Keep
Holy
them out.
eyes.
How does this work?
Yeah. There's another one. It's just wings with eyes.
Those look cool though.
A game that does angels very well is Bayonetta.
They look weird and creepy, but very close to what angels really look like, or are supposed to look like.
Angels described it because I don't know where people are getting these from. Whoops, didn't include that. They don't describe angels like this in the Bible.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No, they don't do that. They do, however, not even that.
What is that supposed to be?
It's a flying person, but his wings are everywhere and stuff.
I don't know. That's a good question. It's probably somebody trying to make things pretty.
Or trying to all you have is humans to go off of.
Yeah.
So it's why Jesus is white now because Europeans made him.
That's one. White Jesus. What is that?
It is a ball of light with 4 wings, with a lion head, a human head, an ox head, and goat legs.
Okay.
It's an angel.
That pretty much is pretty demons. Or light demons.
Yeah.
Because every time you hear about demons, there's these monstrosities. Which, when you think about it, they're monstrosities because they used to be angels. I mean, that's what it is.
You just switch the color palette and
exactly.
get a demon.
You just switch the color palette. I will say I have
demons are just angels that go to Hot Topic. That's all it is.
Angels got their emo phase. I have looked into I don't remember what it's called. It's the Kabbalah. It's mystical Judaism, and it actually has names of the demons that rebelled or angels that rebelled. And I don't know. It goes into some really I don't know. It sounds cool, which kind of sounds terrible of me. I was I looked up this religious stuff. Oh, did it move you? Did you know? It just sounds really cool.
I mean, I think that's interesting. I feel if anyone were to be you're an asshole about that, I'm sorry, I looked up your religion.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I was interested in your culture. I
thought your religion seemed like a really cool movie or book. I don't know. It's I don't really have much. I feel I can't really say much about it.
About the religious aspect.
Yeah, because I don't really. I'm not really a religious man. So, and we talk about Christianity because it's the one we know
familiar.
Most. Yeah, it's what we're most familiar. I'm sure somebody that grew up, I don't know, in Islam and then they're not Muslim anymore would have complaints about it.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. But I just don't. I don't know. It feels weird to not really have a stance on it.
Yeah.
Mostly because I feel like everyone else does. There's a lot of people that are it's black or white. Pick, and it's why.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I don't want to. I'm worried. I have things to worry about in my life now.
Yeah.
Why should I be worrying about my afterlife? I'll worry about it then.
That's how I feel about it. Like, I feel like people worry so much about what's going to happen afterwards that they take for granted all the things that are happening now.
Yeah. Yeah. I did always feel kind of weird about that. All those people that are like, oh, we have to do this because if we don't, we're not going to make it into heaven. And it's like, well, what about now? What about
yeah.
I did have a problem with people that always, like, their moral compass was attached to their religion. In that, like, I've met some people that was how they lived their life. They were a good person because the Bible said so, and as soon as religion was out of their life, they became the worst possible human you could possibly be. And I don't understand why.
Or there are also people who claim the Bible, or not even the Bible, their religion in general is the source of their moral compass. And if you ask them, like, okay, so you're a good person because you follow what the Bible does, what your religion does, they're like, yes. But if you're like, okay, take that religion away, would you be out there pillaging and raping and killing people? And they always say no. Like, okay, then you don't get your moral standard from your religion. Then it's obviously from somewhere else. Because if you don't believe in it, I don't believe in this thing. Why aren't I out there killing, raping, and pillaging people?
I don't know.
It's a societal thing that we invent morals. To me, at least, like,
I have met some people that do believe that, like, in the sense that, I don't remember, I saw like a video, it was like way old YouTube before Google bought it. Some guy
Those were good times.
Yeah, good times.
Those were some good times.
Where you would sometimes run into porn.
I
don't even remember who used to own it, but they hadn't found it yet. And you're like, oh, score. But there was some guy who was like, self-proclaimed atheist, and he was proud about it. And somebody had asked him, like, I don't remember what the question was, but I remember him saying that, like, if he saw like a kid burning, he wouldn't really do anything because, like, why? It's not gonna get him anywhere. It's not gonna be of any use to him. And I was like, no, you're just an asshole.
Yeah, don't chalk that up to you not believing in a God.
Yeah, no,
you're just a dick.
You're just an asshole.
You're a sociopathic asshole.
Exactly.
Yeah, something else is wrong in there. Yeah, or he was trolling and trying to get.
It's possible, but I just remember seeing that clip and be like, what the fuck, and then just clicking away.
I think morality would be a great topic on its own.
Morality? I think that's a good idea.
Mm.
I think morality would be like a 3-episode thing.
A what?
A 3-episode conversation.
Yeah, because there's so many topics that you could talk about.
Just so many things attached to it. Well, in that case, bringing it back to originally what we started with conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
We were talking about cults, religious cults that have conspiracy theories. So, like we were saying, since it's a religion to them, should we respect that view? Should we? Because, like, where does a cult stop and where does, like, a religion start? Which I know you answered as, like, people, like, the times. I think is not the times, but, like, what's popular is what you said. Mm. So, if, a good example is Scientology. Back in the day, people looked at it and were like, that's fucking crazy. But nowadays, there's a lot of Scientologists.
I mean, there are.
And I personally think it's a cult, which might get me...
I don't think it gets you much flack. No. I don't think it would.
But I personally think Scientology is a cult because they behave like one, and it's kind of scary.
I mean, I'll touch on that in a second, but going to the conspiracy theory thing, so what was the original question? Sorry. It
was like conspiracies created by religious cults, since it is a religion to them. To them, it's a prophecy. Where's, like, the line?
The line is, for me, when it's kind of a blurred line, but when you start to that controlling nature of said religion, when you start to take the rights away from the people, when you start to hurt others, when you know what I'm saying, like you can kind of see it when it's happening. That control. Scientology has so much shit going on with it that you'd be crazy to say it wasn't a cult, because it's a banned religion in some places.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. And another thing is they try to hide, and they'll go to like different conventions, or they'll do like street stuff where they have a booth out, but they call it Dianetics. Whenever you have a chance, like look it up. It's called Dianetics. And there'll be cops, and they'll come by and like, nope, this is Scientology and stuff, and you have to leave, and they'll just get the fuck out of there, because it's that they stalk people. If you try to leave, good luck.
Yeah, I've heard stories of like you can't leave. Well, in that sense, there are some sect. Is that what it is? Sect of Mormonism that I think you could consider it a cult, but Mormonism is more accepted than Scientology, at least in certain parts.
Yes, because of the subject matter. It's very closely related to Christianity, which is, a very big religion.
Yeah. Mormon Jesus. Have you seen that? There's this old cartoon of like that explains like what Mormons believe. And then somebody took it and remixed it into a song.
Oh my
God. I wish I could remember what it was. Anyway, sorry. Mormonism. I mean, you always hear those stories about people running away from those like communities in like Utah, and stuff, where like things get crazy. Again, I don't know if I have any right to talk about anything like that, because I've never been in it. I don't know what it is.
But I mean, you can from an outside,
from an outside point of view, to me, that's kind of
fucked.
It's fucked up.
Like it. That's what I'm talking about when I say that it can be very harmful, and it can help a lot of people. But those stories like that sucks, because it's like that person was probably indoctrinated or found solace in this group, and then found problems with it, and probably expressed them, and then he got shot down by people also in that group.
Yeah, and they get shunned to where they end up giving it, like, from what I've heard or seen in documentaries and stuff, what they do is like they shun them, or they make their life so miserable that they force them to give up these thoughts so they can be accepted back into the community.
Yep, that's what Scientology does, actually.
Really?
And it's high level Scientology. Like when you really start getting into it. Do you know what Scientologists believe, actually?
Something about space ghosts.
not off by too much.
That's how I think South Park put it.
Apparently, the leader that made Scientology was actually a science fiction writer.
No, I do know that. He was a sci-fi writer.
Yeah.
Also a con man.
Yep.
And somehow somebody was like, yeah, that sounds like a legit religion.
Yeah, and people...
He must have been a really good writer, I guess.
Xenu. That's the I guess the alien overlord.
Overlord. I mean, that sounds kind of cool when you think about it. What does your religion believe?
How do you not know? Fucking Xenu's gonna come down on a pimped out rocket ship.
He's gonna take us all to paradise.
He's gonna take us all to the Milky Way galaxy on the outer edge and surf the waves.
We're gonna do LSD and
Millie rocks.
We're gonna get fucked up. But see,
I want a shirt that says, "I just want to do LSD and Millie rock now." Well,
I was bringing that up because before we got sidetracked, I wanted to compare conspiracies to cults, and that whole brings back to the whole self-fulfilling prophecy, because that's what cultists do. You got narcissistic, charismatic, sociopath or psychopath. And they slowly make you their friend. You start believing, you start trusting. Oh, he's a nice guy or a nice girl. Next thing you know, it's like, you know what? God told me I have to fuck your wife. And he's like, what?
Wait, he's a nice guy though.
But like, he's helped me so much. And I don't know.
He's over here telling you that you're...
When you talk about it, I don't know, that sounds right. It's like, well, you can ask, you can, try to go ask somebody from outside the group or the faith. But let me tell you, they're not believers, and they're going to turn you down and tell you you're crazy. So you go, and he's like, hey, this guy that I'm hanging out with says that God told him to he's got to fuck my wife. Of course, somebody outside's going to be like, what, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
But then, like I said, it's like, oh, that's what he said you would say. Yeah. So he's right. He's got to fuck my wife. Oh, shit. And it's weird.
Well, Betsy, I mean...
I think that's what happened in Waco, isn't it?
We said we wanted to spice up our marriage. So.
Well, we're swingers now.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened in Waco, though.
Yeah.
He actually enacted a rule where husbands couldn't be intimate with their wives at all. He was the only one that they could have sex with. Mm-hmm. He had it was really fucked up because there was a part where there were some underage girls as well. And there was also a part where he wanted to get this one girl pregnant, but I think people on the outside were starting to catch wind of what was going on or something. Mm-hmm. And to cover up his tracks, he made another one of the newer people, I guess, what do you call them? Followers. One of the new followers get married to her. Mm-hmm. And then he fucked. Yeah. Well, I don't know if he did, but I think by that time, that's when the shooting started. So, yeah. It's kind of fucked up.
Escalated pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. But that's a whole story right there of a self-fulfilled prophecy. That whole, he was saying that army's going to come to our front door and knock on it and try to kill us and blah blah blah.
How would you? Maybe we can try to figure it out. How would you apply that with what's going on today? Because
coronavirus and the mask thing.
Well, no, I mean like the self-fulfilling part. Because I don't understand when some people are like, "Oh, it's a government." And this is not me like criticizing. Like I generally do not understand how somebody's like, "Oh, it's a conspiracy to affect the elections." It's like, okay, so a shit ton of people in Italy died to interfere with American elections, and it's just like
people don't think about that.
There are some parts that I do actually believe, like the whole China, not telling everything. I think that's pretty valid question. Some things like that. But I don't understand how someone, because like, again, something more far-fetched when somebody tells you it's so crazy, but it's true that when you talk to somebody else, they're going to tell you you're crazy. And that's how you know it's true, because they're in on it or whatever. But how I don't understand how it's spread so much. But
it's the appeal. It's all the nice things. So like, how what are you asking specifically? How what spread so much?
So like, okay, so the flat Earth thing,
okay,
right? Because of social media and the internet, it's become more and more prevalent. And
the reason that it's so popular, getting popular, is because of the internet. It's so easy to skew information and like misinform people and make things that would be otherwise crazy sound pretty fucking smart.
Yeah.
Like if you throw in some scientific babble in there, you can make any layman believe anything essentially. Mm-hmm. And that flat Earth is still a very big minority. Like it's
very vocal minority.
Very vocal minority. But that should tell you right there that this doesn't have any like
about the whole flat Earth thing. I feel like there's way too many people that are willing to believe it now because of the internet. There's like, what is it?
I think it's also interesting to people they think it's interesting to be a part of.
Okay, there is that community.
Yeah,
like I said,
I'm a flat earther, and I kind of like
community.
Yeah,
but I feel like there's a lot of people that find a lot of things on the internet now going on in the world, and they don't understand it, so they put this weird belief to it, and then they stick to it instead of looking at to what, because like where is it? I think it's near Louisiana. There's like this lake that's super flat, not flat, but like it's really long, and like flat earthers, they use it as an example that you can see all of this. If the Earth was round, you wouldn't see that, blah blah blah, right? But it's just the reason you can see it is because of like light refraction. There's something involved, and I'm honestly not smart enough to be able to explain it.
One thing that bothers me is people who believe in all like flat Earth theory, flat Earth stuff, but they discount the fact that we use global trajectory and like we use science that takes into consideration the Earth being a globe to run everything, like GPS, planes, fucking even railway systems have to take into effect like that the Earth is a globe. The science that goes into it.
Yeah.
So if you think every scientist, every plane or every pilot,
they're all in on
it, and why? I don't like. What would be the point of hiding the fact that the Earth is flat? I don't understand.
Yeah,
like, there's so many things that just don't add up.
That's I think last time I read something about conspiracies of that size, the two biggest like counterpoints to be like, no, this isn't true, is one, money. A lot of these conspiracies that these people believe in would be expensive as fuck. Imagine all these space organizations around the world, and they're all in on it. Why? For money. Okay, how expensive is that? You have to pay off every single one. There's not enough money to do it.
You have to pay off every single, and there's been no leak.
Yeah, and then that's the other one. The number one is that it's so big. There's no way. Somebody would have talked by now.
Yeah, someone's like, here's the schematic. Earth is flat. Look at it. There's the science behind it. Someone would have to.
Somebody would have eventually, just because people like to talk.
Also, there's video of people getting in. I forgot, they're like super planes, but they're like jets / spaceships that like go past the Earth's atmosphere, and they don't go into space, but they're like right on the edge and come back down. They literally go up. And the guy, I think it's from BBC News or something, he was inside of the cockpit, and the pilot was driving, and he was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It had nothing to do with flat Earth theory, but he was just
a thing,
on the news, and he was like, this is incredible, oh my God, you can, look how, it's a globe, you can actually see it. Like, he was so high that he could actually see the curvature. Yeah, he was like freaking out, because he was just a news reporter, so he was like, this is fucking insane. But you could see the curvature of the Earth. He was pointing it out. But another thing is, what would happen if you just got... I just wish we funded this little experiment. If we got all the leaders in the flat Earth circle,
community circle,
and just put them in one of those planes or like a rocket or something, a satellite or something, and we have satellites. Yeah. That's another thing.
Well, anyway. They have an explanation for that. I don't remember what it is, but there's some weird explanation for that. We've been sitting here shitting on conspiracy theories. Do you think any of these people would want to talk to us? Because I'd like to genuinely ask somebody that is a flat earther, like, how'd you fall into this?
Well, it's
like, how'd you go?
I don't think we've been shitting on it. It's just there's a lot of confusion that we have right now.
Okay, a lot of people somebody from that community would probably listen to this and be like, "Oh, they're trying to discredit us." Do you know what I mean?
If that's the case,
you probably don't want to.
Well, I don't. At that point, those are the people we don't need to talk to. Then,
yeah,
we need to talk to someone that can hear this stuff and then say, "Well, okay, no, let me explain why."
Yeah,
we need someone that's going to have that, who's not afraid to do something like that, because you're going to have opposition. If you have that thought process, you're going to have opposition regardless, not just from two guys on a podcast, from the world.
Yeah. So
if you have that position, you should probably be able to defend it. And if you can't defend it, then why do you believe in it?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm catching it.
And that may sound aggressive, but I don't mean it to be. It's more of just...
I just want to know.
I just want to know.
What's going through your head? Or what was going through your head when you started believing this?
And if you can convince me, that'd be great.
Yeah.
If you give
would you think someone could convince you to believe the Earth is flat?
I couldn't even give you an answer on that. I have no idea. Me right now is saying fuck no, but at the same time, I never know. For all I know, they could say something like, "Here's the science behind it," and I do my research. I'm like, "Fuck, dude, Khalid, they're right." We need to change the name of this podcast.
See, sometimes I feel like I've been in a point where I was like, what if I start believing this conspiracy that I know it's not right? And then I realized that I probably wouldn't be able to fall for it because of the fact that I know that I am an uncertain factor in this. So, and that's kind of how I approach a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's like, if anybody were to ask me to prove that the Earth is round, I'd be like, ask someone else, because I've seen it, I understand it, but I can't explain it. I'm not smart enough to do it.
I'm not a scientist.
Yeah,
the people you need to be proving, the people who need to prove that are the scientists. You probably should talk to them, because I'm not. I just want to know why you think this.
Yeah,
that's all.
Maybe someone would be willing. Do you know anybody? Do you know anyone personally that believes any of these things? I know people that believe in the whole coronavirus thing, but I think that's very rampant. But do you know anyone in person that believes
flat Earth or just a conspiracy?
Well, like conspiracies in general.
My ex,
you're right.
One of my exes believed in the whole. Is it vaccines cause autism?
Okay. Yeah. That one's also become pretty prevalent.
Yeah.
But I also think it's just people that this also okay. I'm not calling anyone dumb, but I just think it's people that don't really understand how it works.
Yeah, I think it's people who don't either people who don't understand or who have had personal experiences with vaccines or something of that caliber, and it didn't go well. Because sometimes those people who are anti-vax people do have a valid reason why they don't like vaccines. It's, my child didn't react well to this vaccine, or they had this vaccine and they were never the same afterward. Mm-hmm. And that happens. Some people get vaccines and it fucks them up. Mm-hmm. That number is
pretty low.
Very low, minuscule. So vaccines do way more good than bad. Exponentially more good than bad. Mm-hmm. But there are people who just have horrible experiences with it, and it just leads on this rabbit trail of anti-vax people, and that's okay. It's okay.
It's understandable.
It's understandable. I will say that it's understandable, but you have to understand. I think people should understand that their personal experience can't speak, volumes for everyone else.
Yeah. Well, what's the thing? And
in this situation,
well, in the situation in general, I feel like this is kind of getting pretty off topic, but I feel like a lot of people believe these things because it affects them or it doesn't affect them. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't believe in the coronavirus because they don't know anyone that's had it.
Yeah, they don't see the coronavirus.
Or the same thing with, I feel like that's something that's kind of been created, one, because of American culture, and two, because of social media, in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's just this weird. I feel like social media took the worst parts of American culture and just kind of cranked it all the way up. Yeah. It's kind of scary, actually. I think
Actually, I kind of want to put a pin on that topic.
Okay.
And
Bring it back.
Bring that one back. Because that's a really good topic
Yeah.
to talk about, social media and American culture.
I'd like to bring conspiracy theories in general back and try to find someone that is a big believer in it. You know, someone that's not going to want to, like, because I feel like a lot of anybody that I've ran into with that is into the whole coronavirus conspiracy is very combative. Like, I have no idea why.
Because they have to be.
I guess.
Wait, you said coronavirus?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was still on flat Earth.
Okay. well, yeah, but I feel like I've seen I've seen some people that are part of the flat Earth community that try to approach and like, here, let me prove it to you. Let me show you.
Mm.
But so far, anyone I've heard or seen, at least personally, that, you know, don't believe that the coronavirus is as big a deal as it is, tend to be pretty combative and pretty aggressive about it. And I don't know why.
I think it's just because they feel like the world's against them. Like, they have an opinion that they know is in the minority, and no one's gonna agree with them. So you gotta be loud, you know, and like, no, I'm right because of this. Like, everyone they feel like they are being attacked.
I could see that. But
now, when it comes to this, like, when it comes to like just, I keep going back to the whole flat Earth thing. But when it comes to coronavirus, I think it's just we Americans don't like being told what to do.
Which is, that's after I asked the question, I kind of thought up of an answer, and it's similar to that in that it's the control. Maybe a lot of these people just are just kind of afraid. You know, they don't want to have that loss of control, and I know a lot of them would never admit that they're afraid.
Yeah.
Anybody that I've met personally that is, you know, one of these people that say that the virus is overblown or isn't real, they're definitely the type of people that would never admit that they're afraid of anything.
Yeah. You can. It's kind of shitty to say, but you can you almost can look at someone and tell.
Yeah. I could, but I mean, that goes down a whole different road about. It's just, I'm not even going to touch it.
We also live in a very individualistic society as Americans.
Yeah.
Because, like, overseas, like Japan or China, I would say Asian countries, they don't care. They're just like, no, I'm going to wear this mask because if someone's going to work and they have a cough, they're going to put on a mask to not keep themselves safe, but to keep everyone else around them safe. They think about that.
What is it called?
Collectivist.
Collectivist. Collectivist communities.
Yes.
Yeah.
They think about that, and that's something that I feel like would help Americans a lot. But at the same time, having collectivist societies there's pros and cons to each one.
Yeah,
we're very vain and like selfish and narcissistic in America. But when it comes to creativity and expression, it's.
Well, I also think the American me kind of individualistic culture is handy because if you come from a collectivist culture, you're like I am from Mexico.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of our culture is about family.
Yeah,
it's family or nothing. Nobody else will be there for you other than family. But your family isn't always a good
thing
community, you know. So I feel like in that kind of sense, having that American individualistic
pros and cons,
like would come in handy, you know, to be able to tell yourself, no, I have to take care of myself and leave that toxic environment.
It's one of those situations where you can't win. You could wish you could have pros from both individualistic societies and collectivist societies, but it's just not going to happen.
No.
We do have collectivist tendencies, but we're just not that kind of society. And I think that's the reason why there's so much pushback when it comes to like just simply wearing a mask. Walking into a grocery store and just picking up milk, and you're there for 2 minutes, but you can't put on that mask. It says a lot. It speaks volumes about you as a person. When I see that happen, it's kind of like, man, dude. Like even if you thought this is a big scam, blah 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 blah, there's still people who are immunocompromised that have to shop here.
Well, that's the whole point of vaccines too, bringing it back.
Yeah, like it's.
There are people that won't make it past it, that will die from it.
Yeah.
Even if they're part of that, 2.5% or whatever. Like I said, I'd like to talk to someone that maybe, like I said, maybe not having someone that is on the coronavirus is fake train would be a good idea because of how
combative.
So aggressive they are. And that's kind of I'm kind of like
that's a broad statement.
But so far everyone I've ran into about it has been pretty aggressive.
But I think that's fine. I kind of want to talk because we can find someone.
I mean, for sure, definitely. I think where we live, we would be more likely to find someone that doesn't believe in the Rona than we would find a flat earther.
I think I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna talk to some people, see if I can pursue this.
Yeah. Who would you like to ask? Which I guess could be. We could think about it and see if we can have someone next time we record. Because I think it'd be interesting. I've always wanted to know how people get into these things, and I guess we can always ask. Like, hey, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I think
I know someone.
Oh, I know plenty of people.
I know like.
Wait, who's willing to talk? Is that what you're asking? Or just know people who are just against it?
I feel like the people I know, if I were to bring them onto a podcast and kind of not grill them, but kind of like poke, would probably affect my
relationship or
social life or work.
Okay.
In fact, probably talking about this would probably affect my work if people from work listen to it. But I kind of don't really care.
I mean,
but it'd be nice if you can find someone. I don't have someone that I think would be willing to talk about it. Is what I mean.
I think I could find someone who's willing to talk about it.
All right, we should get them on.
I'll ask them,
and then we'll go from there. I think it'd be interesting. It'd be a cool show to listen to.
That would go some places.